All right, so I'm so excited you guys are here tonight. You know, I know you took the time out, you know, of your day, and you've had a busy day and a lot of things going on, and you would rather be, you might have a million other things you could be doing that are on your to-do list, but you took the time to sit with us, and you're not going to be disappointed. Christy and Nan have an incredible training for you guys tonight, and you're not going to be disappointed that you took the time out, that you carved this time out to grow, you know, in your vision, to grow in your business. And I promise, if you take what you learned tonight, if you review it, if you become a student of it, you know, you will harvest from it. So we're going to get to, how was my straw? Yes, I have that straw, right? Oh, where did it go? Hold on.
TSA probably
right
took it.
Here.
Good Lord. There's probably kids on here.
Oh, are there kids on here? Hold on a second.
Come out.
Keeping it real. That's one way to get your husband to leave. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Where was I at? See, now all I can think about is that straw. I'm distracted right now. Nan's embarrassed, I think. Anyway, so they have an awesome training. If you put it into practice, if you really become a student, if you're sitting here, I mean, one of the best ways to learn is to be live. But since we're all over the country, this is second best, okay? And you have to invest that time in to growing and to become a student, because everything that you're learning, it's a skill. You guys, I wasn't a business major. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about sales. You know, I didn't know that being a mom was being in sales. I didn't know that I was selling myself to Chad, so to speak, when we were dating, or any of that stuff. I wasn't familiar with this business structure in the slightest. So what I do know is there's skills, you know, and that you can learn them. If you're hungry, if you're really, really hungry to be the best version of yourself. I was just talking to Christy, which is their upline, just a second ago. We had a one-on-one call, and I was telling her, you know, I really do think you can do pretty good just being a student of what we provide as a team. There are different pieces of the recipe. You want to go bigger and higher, you know, or you want to go from having a decent marriage to a really great marriage, or you want to go from being kind of a frazzled mom to a really peaceful mom. I do think there's elevated skills in that, you know, thankfully. And some of you guys might have saw my video, live video on Danny's training and stuff and what it's done for me. But I do think being right here, being committed, you can do really, really well. And I mean, how many of you, like, what would just an extra $500 do for your family? I mean, think about that as you're sitting here. How would that help you? How would that help relieve stress? Could you go on an extra vacation, or a vacation for that matter, maybe that you haven't been on? Would it help relieve stress during that school, when your kids are needing new clothes and supplies and all of that kind of stuff? Or would it help relieve some stress off your spouse? Ask yourself that. Sit there and really think about that. What would $500 do for your family? And that right here is what we're going to teach you, how to create that. And then if you continue to show up and you continue to stay hungry, we're going to go beyond that. But let's focus right here tonight. I want to do some recognition really quick, because I think there are, you guys know that I'm not, you guys are going to see like these massive trailers go by, and hopefully they don't make a lot of noise. And if they do, we'll pause for a second. So, where was I at? Recognition. You guys know that I love different kinds of recognition. I like work ethic, because where you are diligent, you will prosper. If you're diligent with your finances, you will prosper. You will create wealth in your finances. If you're diligent in your marriage, you will go to the next level in your marriage. I guarantee you, because I have lived that, where you start to slip up. You start to miss date night. You start to not kiss your husband on the way out the door. You start not to say, you don't say I love you anymore. Do you see? You're not diligent with things. Things start to slip over time. It's those millimeter adjustments that cause you to be off in Pakistan with the no-fly zone, right? But if you are diligent with things, I know that you will reap an amazing harvest. And I want to talk about some of the people that are reaping an incredible harvest. Now, we have an incredible team, and I try to hit everybody, but you guys are so awesome that we'd be here the whole entire hour if I was going to shout everybody out that deserves an honorable shout out. It's about to get loud, you guys. So if you don't hear your name, it's not. You guys hear it? Hold on. You guys want to see? Yep. That's my life. This is it. And Danny on stage the other day, she was like, and she travels all over the country. I'm ready to not travel all over the country. But anyway, so we would be here all night, but I want to give some shout outs. And if you don't hear your name, it's not because I forgot about you, because I look at these every single day. But let's talk about the people that are leaving some deep Success Club tracks. Charlotte Law, who just hit Ruby last week. So I know that Diamond is right around the corner for her, but she's at Success Club 10 along with April Moore. So that downline's on fire, if you ask me. So they have, it's just for the new people on here. Success Club 10 means they have had, at the very least, 5 challenge packs. That's 5 people that they have given the opportunity by getting over their fears, by reaching out their hand, by forming them and loving them and getting to know them and asking questions and not holding their future captive in their mouth. They've given 5 people hope. That's how I see it. Now, whether those people follow through necessarily, that's going to be a journey, and we all know that. All of us have lived that. But it starts with saying, like, that, making that decision. It starts with someone reaching out their hand. And then to get Success Club 10, they probably had to reach out their hand quite a few times. That means they had to be told no a lot. Do you guys understand? We get told no. How many? Christy and Nan, you guys get told no a lot? Yes, we get told no a lot, okay? And that's okay, because really it's just planting the seed, right? You're planting the seed. You're reaching out your hand. You're quote unquote giving them the presentation. Now, whether we close them, that can take time. Close them on the fact that it is beneficial for them. Okay, so those were the big ones that stuck out to me tonight, because you have to get told no a lot to get Success Club 10, 20, 40. I've never had Success Club 20. Have you, Nan? Nan, you ever done Success Club 40, Christy? You have, yeah. See, I must not be very good at closing. Nan can talk to you guys more about that. But that was absolutely amazing to me. And then we have, in between Success Club 5 and 9, we have Jennifer Wood, Sarah Davis, Maria Balance, and Kimberly Wilcox. So, and there's more because it's a long line of them. And I really rather you guys listen to a ton of training, but there's credit that's due. Does that make sense? And I wanted to, if you guys are on here, if those people that I just talked about with the Success Club 10 and the 5 to 9, if you're on here, if you could type in the chat, like if there was one tip you could give people while I'm talking, before I hand it over to them, if there's one tip, go ahead and share with them what your tip has been for you to reach so much success in that area. Okay, so before we go on, and I'm going to hand it straight over to Nan, where she's going to introduce Christy, and they're going to tell their 30-second story. But many of you guys know that I was at the Danny Johnson event, and I wanted to share something with you guys really, really quick. That really was key. Like, a lot of things always jump out to me, and here was 2, and they're very, very business related. So one is, who is your ideal customer? Do you know who your ideal customer? Have you thought about that? Do you know what they struggle with? So when we've done this training before, it's avatar training, but do you, like Danny even said, give them a name. You know what I mean? Give them a name. What do they wear? What are their favorite colors? Like, what age are they? Where do they work? Do they work? Are they married, single, divorced? Do they have kids? Do they have 1 kid, 2 kids, 6 kids? How does she eat? Where is she struggling? Is she in debt, or he? Do they do homeschooling? Do they go to school themselves? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Once you start to get really clear, now what you can do when you start to talk on social media, or you are talking on Facebook Live, you talk to that person. Have you guys ever felt, those of you guys that have sat at a Danny event, man, she's flipping talking to me. Is she living in my head or something? Right? It's because she's done this part. She knows we're not trying to throw a net out there and catch whoever swims into our net by chance. That's why this business is so flippin' awesome, because Nan's going to connect with someone that I wouldn't connect with, or Aaron Booker's going to connect with someone that I wouldn't, or Christy, or Kessa, you know what I'm saying, or Kimberly, or Charlotte. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what's so cool. But when you get laser focused on who is your ideal customer, who are they? What do they look like? I remember when I started doing that, and it was my ideal customer is someone that, in my head, when I didn't give them a name, so maybe I need to give her a name. Maybe we'll go with Isabella. Bella. That's a good name. I like that name. Anyway, so Isabella is a mom, a stay-at-home mom. She always thought that she wouldn't be a stay-at-home mom. She never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, in all honesty. But once she had those kids, she fell in love with them, and she didn't want to leave them, but she always harbored this resentment. And then, then she just started kind of slipping into this vicious cycle where then she really was just putting on sweatpants and a t-shirt, and she dropped the kids off at school, but she was kind of like a zombie, and she's totally disconnected from her spouse. And when she came home, she kind of just handed the babies over, and she was like off to get a bath. You know what I mean? Like, she was in debt little by little. Why? Not because they didn't make enough money, because retail therapy was kind of what she leaned on. And she was in this cycle, yo-yo diet cycle, you know what I mean? Where she really wanted to do well, and all of that was sitting on her shoulders, and she felt like a fake. Does it sound like anybody? We should just call her Summer. Maybe that should be her name. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's who when I'm talking, that's who I'm talking to. So that's who I'm gearing my posts towards. That's why there might be guys out there that they think I suck. Do you know what I mean? They're like, ugh, she's too like touchy-feely. And you know what I mean? I'm not talking to them. Therefore, I don't care. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So that was something that Danny really, really touched on. And the other thing, so there was 7 things, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live on it. But number 7 of this whole like tangent she went off, this bonus that she went off on at First Steps to Success was number 7. Disconnect from the benefits you get. I.e., which I leaned over and I was like, Success Club and rank. Disconnect from it. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? They are great goals, but you have to disconnect from it. And she was talking about disconnect from how everything benefits you. Disconnect from that. Then you can serve them with a clean heart. Does that make sense? They are great goals to have, but that is not why we work hard with people. We don't pick people and say, oh, this one's really close to Diamond, but she's going through this with, her dad has cancer, but I'm going to push her anyway, because do you see where the benefit, what does that coach need right now that is really close to Diamond, but dad has cancer and husband's deployed? What is that does not need to be pushed for Diamond, does not need to be told, hey, remember what you're fighting for? Hey, like, come on, compartmentalize. No. What is her need? Really? Love, unconditional love. Right? And how can I serve you type of message, right? So when you disconnect from the benefits, you reach out to people more. She said a lot of us are afraid to make phone calls after the opportunity webinar because you're in it for you. That's why you won't call them, because you have another motive. It's not to get on the phone with them. Your heart is not like, hey, I can't wait to get on the phone and see how can I serve them. Can you imagine if you went and got on the phone? Because I remember when this clicked for me at a Danny event, and it wasn't at the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. Okay? It came much later on when I remembered when that's how it was like, man, how can I serve this person on the phone right now? They've watched the opportunity webinar. How can I serve them? What do they need? Where are they at? And it was just questions. And my heart, that connection, my heart was for them. That connection happened. You know what I mean? And once that clicked, I can talk to people all day long. You know what I mean? And my heart is for them. And so that was number 7. So I'm going to go through this really quick. You have 7 things, and I'm not going to go into all of them. Number 1 is your list. This is what you have to have to succeed, your list. 2, you have to form them. You have to know about them. Stop talking about yourself and start getting to know them. 3, you have to know their sign, strengths, interests, goals, needs. Okay, you have to, as you're talking, that's why you're talking, because you need to know what their need is, not what your need is, what their need is, okay? 4, fill that need. What is it? Is this a realtor that you're working with that really needs customers to fill so that they can sell more houses? Well, then give them referrals, right? What is their need? Okay, do they need a book? Is their marriage struggling? So do they need to be in the Dirty 30? How can you serve them? 5, fill the promise you made. So if you said you would add them to the Dirty 30 group, or you said that you would send them the webinar that Danny did or Maxwell did or whatever, or you said you would call 10 people and refer them their hair business, do it for them. Fill that need. Then follow up with them. Number 6, see how it's going. Hey, how are those leads going that I sent you? How are you guys doing? Or how was that book that I recommended? How's the energy bus going for you? How's the bait of Satan going for you? Or how's like a boss going, or girl boss redefined going for you? Do follow up. And then 7, disconnect from the benefit. Number 5 was fill the promise you made. So you promised you would call 10 people and refer them to get their hair done or get spray tanned by them or do their makeup, fill that need. Number 7, disconnect from the benefit. That is the big one. Disconnect. Can you imagine if you're like, I'm just calling this person to see how I can serve them. It might be over here. It might be over here. It might be what I had. Can you imagine how many more people you would call? How many more people you would share? 6 is follow up to see how it's going with what you sent them. Okay, so that is, you would naturally hit Success Club. I honestly believe that if you disconnected from the outcome, because your numbers would go up. The people you were talking to and seeing, like, can you imagine if you just got really passionate about getting to know people, forming them, finding their sign, and figuring out how you could fill a need? If that was your only, like, it doesn't matter. Think about all the resources we have if we're doing personal development and all that kind of stuff, networking and all that kind of stuff. You know, think about how we could serve people. Can you imagine? They will be your biggest flipping fan, and every single person you connect with knows 2,000 people. So you have this hairstylist, maybe is needs those customers, and now those customers are sitting in her seat and she's talking to them, and they're like, man, if only I could lose these last 10 pounds after having my baby. And they're like, oh my gosh, you should totally talk to Summer. Boom, bam, referral. Do you see what I'm saying? This is key. This is key. And that was just what I wanted to share with you guys. So disconnect from your benefits completely and talk to people. Be someone that is the light in some form of fashion. So that's all I got for that. Was I kept it at 18 minutes, but I was like, I'm going to do this in 15 minutes. So it's all you, Nan. You ready, girl? I got you unmuted now. So Nan, I'm going to let Nan kind of tell her story, okay? Because it's absolutely incredible. And seeing her growth, you guys, over probably even more intensely, I would say, over the last couple months. Wouldn't you agree, Nan? I mean, I've seen it going, and then I feel like it was just like Nan was like, boom, I got it. Peace out. Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel like what just happened. If you guys haven't heard Nan talk about her Power Hour, it's in our YouTube playlist and absolutely phenomenal. I send it to coaches on our team all the time that are struggling with finding new people, or, how you fit it into the business, full-time mom and work hours all the time. It's phenomenal. So I'm going to let her tell you her story. I might butt in every once in a while, and then Christy will tell her story, and we will rock this. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, you're on.
All right, guys. So like Summer said, my name's Nan. So I became a coach in August of 2014, just as a discount. And actually, it's kind of crazy because I was a runner, I was a marathoner, and the last thing that I ever thought that I needed was this Shakeology, this nutrition drink, or any sort of programs, because they weren't going to work. They weren't for me. I could go out and I could run and definitely get better results, right? So after I had my second daughter, I, was 6 weeks postpartum, and I was unhappy. My upline coach, Christy, had been getting some awesome results, so it was kind of in the back of my mind, but my husband was ready to kind of make some changes because, of course, he had that sympathy weight gain, right, when I was pregnant. So he, ordered P90X3 and signed up as a coach with Christy. I still wasn't on board. I was going to go run. That was, what I had known. And basically I got handed over T25 and was told to do it. And I didn't want to do it. I had no intent of doing it. I hated it for the first week. It was one of those battles in my head forever. But I stuck it out because, I'm just not the type of person to give up. My husband, he kind of was there to push me and, hold me accountable. And honestly, without him, I probably wouldn't be here today because I would have probably thrown it out the window and given up. But so, we were drinking Shakeology. I finished T25 and we quit Shakeology after that. I bought T25 actually on eBay at that point because I was like, well, I'm not investing any more money. Shakeology is expensive. And so we stayed off of it for about a month and kind of was ready to go back to work at that point. And that's when we both were like, wow, we really need this. Like, our energy levels were tanking and all the way around as a quick meal. And so then as a coach, under my husband, and, I started doing PIO. And from there, you know, I just started to share my story with people. And recently, you know, I was working full time. I'm down to 4 days a week, and my husband has quit his part-time job after 20 years. And we're paying for daycare each week by doing Beachbody. And, you know, my vision is to hopefully next summer be able to walk my girls to the bus and take them to school in the morning. So, yeah, it's came the very long way, and don't give up on those people that are as stubborn as me, because I promise they will come around. So.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I love your story. I think it's absolutely awesome. Yes, you don't give up on people. You're patient with them. You know what I mean? I'd say like you fell into the hands of the right upline with Christy, in my opinion, one of the most patient people I know. And so, my stuff's going all over the place. Okay, so you guys are going to talk about, well, let's let Christy share her story. Okay, so Christy is your PS coach, correct?
Correct.
So Christy, were you one of her first PS coaches, or yes?
Oh, yes.
Oh, good placement then. That's always you know what I mean? Just like 5 years down the road, that'll matter. Okay, you're on. Let's hear your story, girl.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Christy, and I've been a coach for about 20 months now, I think. And before Beachbody, I was a mess. I had a negative I was not confident. I had negative issues with food. I basically lived off of coffee and lean cuisines. I did not know what clean eating was. I was always trying to fix myself and lose those last 10 pounds. I remember after I had my second daughter, I signed up for a half marathon to lose weight, and I hate running. I've done 4 of them, and I don't like it. So I was always trying to fix myself. So, and then I just thought something needed to change, because I have 2 young daughters, and I do not want them to have to grow up the way I, was thinking. And because growing up, I saw my mom diet all the time, and she would always say, oh, well, if you lose 10 pounds, you'd be prettier or skinnier and stuff. And I do not want to do that. So I met Nan in a parking lot, in the Kroger parking lot. I was selling clothes for a selling wall, and we clicked right away. She friended me on Facebook, and she was forming me, and she would always be like, hey, let's go out and run. And I wouldn't run with her because I was comparing myself to her. But still, there was something about her I really liked. So before you knew it, I purchased 21 Day Fix, and without Shakeology though, because it was too expensive. And I had success with that. The biggest thing with that was I learned how to love food, and I had a positive relationship with food. 2 months later, I purchased Max 30, the challenge pack with Shakeology, and she talked to me about the coaching opportunity, and right away, I just said yes, because I was like, what do I have to lose? It was free to sign up, and then I could quit at any time. So, and the challenge pack was a Christmas gift from my parents, because I didn't want my husband to know how much Shakeology cost. So then I did it, and I was like, okay, I love this stuff. She introduced me to the team. I felt a connection with Christy right away. I don't know if it was because we were cheerleaders or we have the same name, but I was like, I need to be in this team. These are my people. So I just figured out, okay, how can we make this work? So, and since joining Beachbody, I've grown to love myself. I'm teaching my kids to love themselves. I'm able to pay for cheerleading, dance classes, preschool, and I just actually walked away from my afternoon babysitting job that I've been doing for 4 years now.
Gosh, girl, that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And I got a question. So what made you take the leap with Shakeology, though? you know what I mean? Like, was it just like you kept seeing someone talk about it, or?
Yeah, I've always seen, there was somebody else I was following on Facebook, and she always had her Shakeology cup, and it just looked really good. And I was always looking for, you know, something else, and I loved it. I loved the way it made me feel. Like, the energy was great. And then, I mean, I had 2 little kids, so if it saved, you know, time with like one less meal, I was all about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when your husband found out how much it was going to cost each month, what did he say?
Oh, well, he was like, well, I don't know about this. I don't know. And I was like, just trust me. Just trust me. I can, you know, I'll get it paid for. And he was like, all right. And then a few months later, when Nan told me to sign him up, and he was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this, Christy. I was like, just trust me, okay? And sign him up to be a coach. And he is totally, like, fully on board now.
Oh, Christy, are you a Sapphire?
Yes.
Right?
I
Okay.
am.
I'm just making sure. I know I can assume, but you know, he was just like, this is so fun, and you know, and cheerleader, and I told him to trust me. That's like totally. That's a Sapphire go-to. Just trust me. Just trust me. What's your husband? What gem is your husband?
Emerald.
Whoa, I was gonna say, and he went for that. He's like, trust me. Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so obviously, you guys, these girls that you're going to listen tonight, they know what they're talking about, right? And they're going to show you, give you some very key tips to take your business to the next level to get where they are. I mean, can you imagine if you were, I don't know how many of you guys have extra jobs, your spouse is working extra overtime or anything like that, but can you imagine if you could take that weight off, or if you could pay for all the dance class and the little extra things that you want to do? I mean, it's really absolutely an incredible way to lift a lot of that financial burden off. And so anyway, they're going to tell you how they did that. They're going to talk about my favorite topic. You have no idea. I'm so excited. But they're talking about without a vision, there is no motivation. So who's first?
Me.
Okay.
So Christy and I were discussing some things, and kind of reflecting back on a lot of things of what's changed for me the most, probably from coaching, is talking about vision. So I'm not going to lie, when I signed up as a coach, you know, I mentioned that I did it just for a discount, right? So in the beginning, there was a lot of this talk about ego and having this vision. And I was like, these people are crazy. Like, who needs a vision? I am like perfectly fine. Just like I didn't need that Shakeology and that other stuff, right? So, okay, well, I want to go back a little bit and start talking about ego. So ego is referred to this like self-shadow, false self, this like basically this like what our subconscious we are fed as kids. So I need to turn that chat off. So, and as part of that, it's like our comfort zone. So when we're living in that comfort zone, that's the bus that we're driving. And basically by living in that comfort zone, we're just sabotaging our happiness. So what we do is we really aren't following our hearts. We're terrified to be seen for who we are. And we need a lot of validations that we're good enough. And all of these things are like things that, like, now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, like that is so, like, it's amazing to, like, almost like I just want to like punch myself in the gut myself, because I've realized all of these things since I became a coach. And I don't know where I would be if I never said yes to coaching, because it really is just so much more than about the money. But I've learned that, you know, these are the leading causes of why we fail in our careers, as our marriage, with our, you know, kids relationship, this business, is because we are just so stuck in this comfort zone. And we haven't woken up to see how truly powerful we are. And so we just continue to just live in this comfort zone. So in the beginning, you know, I thought that I was happy, and that, you know, I was like, okay, I'll plug into these team calls because that's what my upline told me to do. So I plugged in, and I'm not going to lie, I plugged in, and my husband came home for work, because that's when he was working his part-time job, and he always got home when these run. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. Like, I was like, didn't want him to hear. I was embarrassed. You know, these people are so much better than me. Like, I'm not worthy of this. Like, this is nothing is ever going to happen and come of this. But I'm going to do it because this is my best friend. She's telling me to do this. So I'll just please her and I'll just get on these. So after, you know, plugging in for a few weeks, I'll admit that I kind of started to enjoy it. There was a little bit of things in my mind that kind of started to change, and I was intrigued to come back for more. So, like, okay, let's keep seeing what this can do, okay? So, slowly my relationship with my spouse, with Chris, and just my girls, and just my happiness, I started to feel that in life I was getting happier with life, with my job, but I wanted more. So I kind of kept reaching out, seeing what was next. I, you know, got my husband to Emerald, and because he signed up before me, and then I got to Emerald, got to Diamond, and then I just, you know, as along the way though, like I started to get a lot of disapproval from people, from coworkers, from my family, you know, and just like kind of like a lot of experience that every time that you kind of start to feed into this, you know, positivity, you're going to get that kind of gut check back at you. So about a year after coaching, so basically I was plugging in for a year. I was doing my business and staying consistent, but I'll be honest, I still hadn't opened up a book. I like opened up many books. I was told to read all these books, and I would open them up and I'd read 2 pages. I was never a person that could, like, I can not process reading. Like, I'm just like, if I'm not excited about it, I'm not going to read it. So finally I had been to multiple Super Saturdays, and I kept hearing this book, The Energy Bus. And I was like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to order it. So I got on Amazon and I ordered it, and I read it, and that was the first book, and I was like, hands down. So it was a year after I signed up as coach, I finally had finished my first personal development book. So I was listening to like Shalene and National Wake Up Call. So I was doing all, like, you know, audio stuff, which is great, you know, is what I had time for as a working mom. And that was okay. But it wasn't until I started to actually read that something started to really change with me. And I was really able to start kind of reprogramming myself. My business like really started to take off at that point. So then I made a goal to just start, like, I was addicted. I was like, oh, this is just as awesome as like finishing these programs. Finishing a book is amazing. Like, if you've never done it, it's awesome. So do it. So I made this goal that I was going to read, like, finish a book every single month. And like, I kind of was like, okay, I started to get the realization that there was like this awesome energy source, and it made me want to have this deeper connection out there and understanding spiritually. And so I started to form a connection more with God and my family, and, you know, started to get involved more with the church, which was something that was not, you know, I've always struggled with all of my life. So I realized, you know, I'm so much more powerful because of that, and I'm much more of a happier person because of it. And it's something, you know, that I'm still going through right now. But so I kind of, at this point, I've slowly done a little bit less of, I would say, the reading, and we'll kind of get back to that. But then I still needed more. I was feeling like I was like getting this tap on the shoulder that I needed to do something else. You know, my team was growing. I kept hearing about this Danny Johnson person, and I was like, I don't know. And like in the back of my head, like all I can hear is like Chris going, you don't need to go to that. You can just listen to that. They have that stuff, or you can just go get the books. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, and so I kind of just did it, and I got it put it on the credit card, and I mean, it was amazing. So, you know, with plugging into that, with Danny, that was another huge, like, gut check right there. Something that I realized how, you know, I was made the way that I am, and that just, I don't know, like, it's just, everything is just really coming together. And it's pretty amazing when you can look back and kind of reflect and see that. And so it's just all about like this, I've learned to focus on what makes me feel good, and that is like personal development and my relationship with God and my team, and realizing that if I focus on that, that's what I'm going to attract more of. It's like the law of attraction. So we're all going to attract whatever energy that we are, we are giving off. So if you're, vibrating this low frequency of being pessimistic and angry, that's what you're going to attract. So don't expect, if you're letting that off, that you're not. And that's kind of the life that I always had, was this, and I always thought that's what I would get back, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't work. So we need to really like raise that frequency every single day, and that is by plugging into the personal development, into the team calls. And then I just realized that it's not going to be easy though. Every single day I struggle. And like most recently, I told you guys I've stopped kind of reading, and I was struggling again. And I was like, God, what is it? Because, I'm always making these evaluations daily and weekly. Like, am I moving my business forward? What can I have done better today? And celebrating the victories along the way. But I'm not going to lie, and Summer will probably remember this, but I recently got out the book, You're a Badass, and I don't even know what group that was supposed to be read in, but I didn't read it because I just didn't. And I picked it up. Well, actually, it's kind of crazy because I got back from vacation, and it was sitting out on my desk, and I was like, Chris, where did this book come from? He's like, I don't know, it's not mine. And I was like, well, it's not mine. And I was like, oh, I think I got that at some point. And it was so weird because it was like the sign that like this book appeared out of nowhere. And then like I was like, I'm totally going to read this. And I did. And it was exactly what I needed at that moment. And so, I'm plugging into that now. And it's just, it's not always going to be easy, but we have to control what we can. And through the power of personal development and prayer, it gives me the belief that this vision is something that I can like touch and taste now. 2 years ago, had you told me that I'd be sitting here talking to you guys, or even believing that I would be the crazy person, I would have never agreed with you. I mean, because that's not who I am. If you haven't guessed, I'm a Ruby. Okay. So I didn't need all of this, but, so I challenge you guys. One of the first real things that I did to really find my vision was making a video, and it was challenged again in a group. And I remember waking up, and it was right after I had finished the energy bus, and we were challenged to make a vision, or like share our why. And I was like, God, I don't even know what my why is. Like, I still kind of just had this why that was really surface. It was really just about myself and feeling, good in my skin, and wanting to walk my girls to the, or wanting to wear a bathing suit comfortably at the pool in the summer. And it was just all surface. And so that morning I was like the only one up, and I made this video, and I just was bawling by the end of it. And I was like, what the heck just happened to me? I was like, and so it's not something, your vision isn't something that is just going to happen. I didn't start off with a big vision at all, but the more that you plug in to being around this, this awesome sources, these, recharging ourselves with team calls and just plugging into Danny Johnson and these kinds of things, your vision is going to grow. And not only that, is also by doing the first thing, if you haven't completed a program, that's going to be the very first step to getting that vision off and going. Because if I had never completed a program and following the program from start to finish on the calendar, I wouldn't be here today. It was because of that I was able to get the results finally for the first time, even as a marathoner, finally feeling comfortable in my skin. And so I challenge you guys to that you're no different than me, and that we are all worthy of this greatness. And write your vision down and make a vision board or make a video if you guys haven't yet, and share it with your coach and your team. Dream big, because if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? Wake up every day and listen to it if you're, or look at it. Post your vision board somewhere so you can see it. And ask yourself, why not you? Because you really are no different than the three of us right here. So
that's awesome, because Nan, you are rubies. You guys have to understand, are natural leaders. Like they step into the occasion once they decide to, and so you can get so far without personal development. And I think you got somewhere without personal development, right?
Yeah, we got to diamond without it, but I was still doing the audio, so I was.
Well, audio's good, actually. I mean, so you were in personal development. So there's when you want to go to the next level, you just increase your all-in mentality. Does that make sense? And so every step of it, Nan could make it somewhere. However, I couldn't. Does that make sense? And some people would disagree. I'm a pearl. And pearls don't get very far without it, because of what you have in your head of you don't want to make money off of people. Do you know what I mean? And that can really stop us as pearls. And if you don't start reprogramming yourself, emeralds, they struggle with people skills. Period. That's just how God made you. And I love that you said that, Nan, that when you went to Danny, you started to realize, like, this is how I was made. You know what I mean? For a reason, and that's why if you have a team full of rubies, you will fail. If you have a team full of pearls, you'll fail. We were all designed to come together and to work off each other's strengths, honestly. So attracting different into your team is absolutely vital. You know what I mean? It was, if I wouldn't have been surrounded by rubies, I never would have started to shine that piece. I mean, even there's sometimes that people can't even tell what gem I am, because I've been being in an environment, of growth you start to shine your gems to where you can mirror other gems, right? But once you took it to the next level, Nan, you got surrounded in an environment, a growth environment, and you started to realize, like, I am wonderfully made. This is how I was made. That layer of ego comes off and you step into the position. See, depending on what gem you are, and even can go for each gem, if you've been wounded, sometimes you're not okay with who you are because you've been told it wasn't okay who you were. Some of the rubies might have been told you're too competitive. Why you got to take everything so seriously? Why are you always going 99 miles an hour? You know what I mean? And pearls might be called soft. You know what I mean? And just pushovers. And why are you always walked all over? And sapphires, why are you always late to everything? Why can't you ever just stick to anything? You know what I mean? Why were you like that in school? Why are you always getting into trouble? You know what I mean? And emeralds, why you gotta be so serious? You know what I mean? Why can't you take a joke? Why are you always asking why? You see, like, there's always in different people in your life might have said those things. So you start to change yourself, or start to think that you need to change yourself. And you go ahead and you put on the opposite gem's lotion. You know what I mean? Because that must be the other gem that I'm supposed to be. And now you're confused and frustrated when you're not your authentic self. You start to shy away from things. When you don't realize that you are more, you don't step into more. Does that make sense? When you don't understand that were built the way you were for a reason, you don't take that and go to the next level with things. So, I think, Nan, you got to a certain level that, was you were hitting a lid, in my opinion. You know what I mean? A lid. She went to a leadership level because that's what rubies do. Bam. You know what I mean? They go to it. And then it was like this thing. And then I feel like when she started to dive into books and into Danny Johnson, like the lid just flew right off. And it's like the sky's the limit. And that can be for any gem. You know what I mean? I think pearls tend to hit their lid really, really quickly. You know what I mean? Because, I don't want to charge anything. Course, you know what I mean? I'd feel bad. I should be running a charity or something. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is so key, you guys. So key. So anyway, I wanted to hit on that. Okay, you ready, Christy?
I'm ready.
All right, Nan, did you want to introduce her, or oh wait, you already did that. I'm losing my mind. Go on.
All right, guys. So I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about motivation, because we all need it in this business. And I'm just going to share with you a story about how I lost my motivation. It was kind of recently, and how I got it back. Earlier this summer, when school let out, I was at my parents' house. My husband was away. I kind of lost my drive, and I noticed that I just had excuse after excuse after excuse, and I needed to do something about it. Nan actually reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I need help. I need help. I need to get my motivation back." And so, and I really had to make the decision if I was going to be all in or if I was going to quit. And there was no way that I was going to quit, because I love my team. I love this community, and I don't know what I would do without like everybody on here. So a couple things that helped me with to get my motivation back. Number one was my mindset, and that's just reprogramming my brain, and that is with personal development. And not just any personal development. It has to be something that speaks to you. And like Nan, maybe because I'm her coach, I don't know, or she's my, I did not read any personal development. And then she told me, we were actually at the same Super Saturday where we heard about the energy bus. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get that. I never did. And then she read it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll read it. And I did. And it was the first personal development book, maybe like the fourth book ever that I finished from start. Like, I started and I actually finished it, and I wanted more. So John Gordon, so like I started reading a lot of his books. So I knew John Gordon spoke to me. So I picked up The Seed because I heard Nan talking about it. And it's a great book if you're struggling with purpose. I absolutely love that book. My mom just asked for it, which is awesome. I gave her the energy bus, so now she wants The Seed. And then the other things I did was when I did laundry, I listened to the Shalene Show. When I cooked dinner, I would listen to Danny Johnson. So it's really reprogramming my brain. The second one was I had to surround myself with people who motivate me. And that's, I mean, this team call, it's being on this team call has really changed my outlook for this company and everything. And the other thing is going to events. Danny Johnson, this was 2 weeks after I was in, my funk where I couldn't find my motivation. I went to Danny Johnson, and oh my goodness. And when I went there, I really did not know what to expect. And the first day, I was floored, and I realized I have a lot of stuff to work through. And she had us do an activity during our lunch, and this is where I got kind of like my aha moment. And this was where I realized where I didn't have motivation because I wasn't allowing myself to have a vision. I always had, the surface why, and I never really dug deep. So, and then she said, I have it in my notes, where there is no vision, there is no motivation. And that was like my aha moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like she's so right. So going to Danny Johnson, and then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, going to Summit, just being around all, the positive people, everybody who's, alike, and we want to change the world. It's really great. It really helps with my motivation. The other one is, the third one would be finding a business activity tracker that you would stay consistent with. And the thing that's really helped me was Teamsy. I tend to be a little bit disorganized with like paperwork and stuff. So having it on the computer and having it, I wake up every morning, look at it, it'll tell me what to do. I get that done. I get my non-negotiables done in the morning, and then I can go about my day. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it is very important for me to have business hours. So I would wake up in the morning, I would do my PD. That's the first thing I need to do in the morning. And then I would check in with my challengers, and I would do my Teamsy. If I did that, I would be okay with the day. I can play with my girls without thinking about who I have to invite or who I need to follow up with. and I'm not sacrificing my why for my why. So when Claire wants to have a My Little Pony pool party, I am with her doing that and not thinking like, okay, well, what am I going to post next? And then my fourth one is be a challenger in your challenge group. And what I mean about this is to start a program and follow the calendar. I wasn't doing that earlier this summer. I did hammer and chisel, then I did 22-minute, and then I kind of just danced around and didn't, or said I was going to start 21 Day Fix Extreme, and then I would do like the first week, and then I would bounce on to something else. And then I really wasn't excited about working out. So you have to remember about that first challenge pack that you purchased and how excited you were to do that that workout the next day. When I first got Max 30, or actually when I got Hammer and Chisel, because we did that in January, I could not wait to do that workout. Like I couldn't wait to check off each workout. And when I was finished with that, like the sense of accomplishment was amazing. I felt so awesome, and I wanted to have that feeling back. And when we are a product of the product, when we're doing our workouts, following the calendar, drinking our Shakeology, it's going to be easier for us to invite, and it's going to be easier for us to share on social media. So, those are, just the 4 things that really helped get my motivation back. It's really not really hard to do. We should be doing it every day. It's just that I wasn't. So,
you know what I like is the order that you went in, and somehow I end up with 5 points, and I'm not really sure how I did that, but we're gonna go with it. I love how, okay, so you, like, number 3 in my notes was vision, which I think is number 2. So I think you did mindset and environment together maybe. But some of you guys might be like, I don't have my vision. I don't get it. I don't understand. And this comes back to what Nan said, is she had to work on her mindset. And so I had number 1 as mindset and number 2 as environment. So you have to control your mindset. It's a mindset shift that has to happen, which, Nan did, talk to you guys about how, reading that book and that comes down to accomplishment, and I'm going to get to that in a second because that was so key. But really controlling what your mind, is going in your mind is key. So if you're like, I don't have a vision, I don't get it. Nan told you she too did not have, she was surface. She challenged you to write down, if you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you couldn't fail, let's just put this out there, would you take your family on a trip to St. Thomas, fully paid for by you? This, no stress, no credit cards, just, hey, babe, I booked St. Thomas and we're going, I paid for it. If you couldn't fail, would that be something, let's just throw that out there, that excited you? Or if you couldn't fail, what are some things are on your guys' heart? Come on, you guys, we're taught to trade excitement for security. And when, some of you guys know that where you think you have security, there's not even any security, and people tell you not to get your hopes up so that you're not hurt. How many of you guys are hurting a little bit? Like you take the secure route and you still notice that you're faced with disappointment. You know what I mean? So I rather get my hopes up and be disappointed and have a chance of going to St. Thomas, paying for some memory things like going to St. Thomas. Or maybe you're like, man, if I couldn't fail, I would do a mini Winnie. I have one for you. It's for sale. If you would like it, we have one. Just save up for it. What is on, there you go, Angela, family on an amazing vacation, no mortgage, move to Maui. How awesome. So these things, you have to allow yourself, like Nan said, actually it was Christy said, allow yourself to have a vision. And some of you guys can't even get there. I was like that. You couldn't even get there until you change your mindset and you change your environment. Danny said this weekend, environment is everything. It is why every time I go, I notice I'm a millimeter off and it redirects me because of who I get surrounded by. You guys, this team, getting surrounded by the people that are actually happy and smiling in between those doors, getting behind Danny, in front of Danny, or Danny's speaking truth into your life. Your environment is everything. So if you're struggling, you need to go back to Christy's 1 and 2. which is mindset. So figure out something that you like Christy said, something that works for you, that starts working on this, and then environment. You have to be very serious about the RV internet is dying. Can you guys not hear me?
It's good now.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You have to be very cautious about who you surround yourself by. And I mean that, okay? So if you look around, and I'm not saying that you don't love people unconditionally, because that we're not called to judge, but you have to look at the people you're surrounded by and see if they have the fruit that you want. Because you are the average of the 5 people you're around the most, okay? Now, we can't divorce our families, nor am I saying that we should. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that we leave our friends in the dust or anything like that. But if you're going to become emotionally strong enough to create a vision and still hang out with those people, you better intentionally get surrounded in other environments like Danny, or like leadership type stuff that we do, and working on your mindset. You have to, I always take a step back and look around this quarter, who have I been around the most this quarter, and am I willing to be the average of them in my marriage, in my finances, in my business, all of that. Wow. How many of you guys are like, wait a second, that made me a little uncomfortable? Anybody start squirming in their chair like I do at Danny? Danny says something, and if you see me start to go like this, that's because I'm pretty sure she just punched me in the gut and I'm just trying to get my breath. So that's huge, okay? If you're going to have a vision and you're struggling with that, you have to fix 1 and 2. And then, of course, she said Team Z, and getting the most important stuff done. Working on this all day. I swear, if I find out that you're working on this business all day, I will personally call you and you will get a spanking from me. Because there is just absolutely no reason for it. In all honesty, you should be working like 7 hours a week, maybe 1 hour a day, okay? As you get higher up, there might be some people in our organization that should be working 20, and you will get to that. But you trust me, once you're making 20, working 20 hours a week, your husband should not probably, it won't be as stressful. You'll be able to help with the finances and all kinds of stuff, and have a few more freedoms that doesn't take all your time. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So if you're right now striving and working 20 hours a week, you're striving too much. Okay, if you're working 20 hours a week and you don't have a huge organization, then you're not being faithful like Christy is. You're not being faithful with your time. And if you're not faithful with the little things, and time is one of them, you will not become ruler over much. And how do you become ruler over much? You can torture yourself and live in a mini Winnie. That's how you become ruler over much. You can do anything you want so much to yourself that you decide to buy a mini Winnie and live in it. You see what I'm saying? That's how you get more time. Faith with the little things, and be a challenger. I love this. Be a challenger, that sense of accomplishment. I love what Christy said about how if you're being a challenger, you don't run out of things to post. If you're leading by example, you're being a belief maker, you will have personal development stuff to talk about on Facebook. You'll have Facebook lives to talk about because of what you read, or what you did with your kids that day, or what you did in your workout, or a tip that you have with nutrition and all that kind of stuff. You will have stuff to share. You won't run out of things to share if you're doing these things that she just talked about. If you're controlling your environment, you'll have those things to talk about. Just like at Danny, I got to talk about being on stage with Kristen Evans. That was I had that post to have because I controlled my environment and went. Does that make sense? Okay, so I absolutely love this. Everything that they shared with you guys right now, you guys could put this into action and completely change your business. Completely change your business, okay? Now, you might be like, okay, well, I understand number 4 with Team Z and all that kind of stuff, and that's where completing like a boss training that's going to help you. That's going to be vital, but you could take these and say, okay, I'm going to control my mindset. I'm going to give Christy and Nan and Summer 1 year of my life. You guys are like, wait, what? What? A whole year? I haven't done anything for a whole year since as long as I can remember. Well, that times are going to change. I'm frozen again. Can you guys hear me now?
Hear me now.
No.
Hear me now.
I don't think so. Can you guys hear me now?
Moving.
Yeah.
It's delayed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what I was saying now. What was I saying?
I'm not sure.
Chad wasn't listening to me, so he doesn't know.
I was listening.
I was saying, crap, I don't remember. I did for the last one and froze up. Okay, I'll put my name.
Something happy, something happy.
Crap, you guys. Okay, anyway. Well, I've kept you guys all too long, but what I was saying is, when you control your mindset, with Like a Boss training, and control your environment and get to events, it changes everything. You start to develop a vision. You start to break that cycle of when you don't, like that give up, like you keep giving things up and you give up and you give up, you break that cycle. I'm freezing up again. I gotta get out of this mini Winnie park. Okay. All right, you two, do you have anything left to say, Nan and Christy? Completely frozen right now. Yay. Completely frozen. What do we do about it? They can't see that, and they're not there anymore.
They're probably watching us.
All right, well, if you guys can hear me, I'm going to jump off, and I'm going to let you guys go hang out with your family.
See, they're watching us all the time.
Did they see it? Could you guys see the flying penis? You didn't see the
No?
Chad went like this across the screen.
I did not. Summer did that.
Anyway,
Appropriate.
you guys, jump off. I'm sorry. I will lose you any second. Nan and Christy, thank you so much for, I mean, I took notes, and I just looked at Chad, and I said, see, that's my problem. I need to focus there. So you guys impacted me tonight. I hope all of you guys took notes and put that into action. You guys, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.